This week I'm actually coming to you from my car, but it's a really important topic that I wanted to chat to everyone about, and it's a topic that I actually get asked about quite often, and it's about how to plan for a wedding and not get yourself into a big hole financially. So my first tip to you is that you need to start saving as early as possible. And I know it's a bit of a weird tip because the thing that I get often is that, oh, that's a bit awkward. Like, I'm not even engaged yet, or I don't want to put pressure on my partner. And yes, like, I agree. But if you're having the important conversations when it comes to money very early on in your relationship, chatting about, saving for a wedding or saving for other big life events like moving in together or going traveling or starting a family isn't going to be as awkward. So which is why it's so important to have those conversations about money as early on, so you can start saving for something like a wedding as early as possible. So to give you an example, the average cost of a wedding is $60,000, and I've had friends who have been married. I have friends who are planning for a wedding, and that's a very normal cost of a wedding these days. And also, to give you another example for myself, some of you may know that I'm actually getting married in October, and my partner and I, because we had these conversations about money very early on, we actually started saving for our wedding very early on as well. And so now, we're about 7 months away from our wedding, and we actually only have $1,000 left to save because we started saving as early as possible. We had conversations around money as early as possible, so saving for something like a wedding even before we got engaged wasn't actually awkward at all. My second tip is that you need to set a budget. And this is a really boring tip because, who's not going to tell you need to set a budget? It's one that I read all the time, and I actually give myself all the time. It's a pretty boring tip. So setting a budget's not hard for a wedding. It's actually quite fun when you can put down what you're going to spend on things like flowers and your dresses and your rings. It's really fun. But the hardest part about setting a budget is committing to it. Because you can get so carried away with that, and it's a very emotional experience. So, when you're looking for a videographer, for example, and you see a video of your friends who just got married and the video is amazing, you get emotional, you say, I want to use that videographer because it's the only day I'm ever going to get married and their video looks so amazing. You inquire and it works, and it turns out to be $5,000 or $6,000, and it's so easy to say, well, you know what, I'm going to spend that amount because it's the only time I'm ever going to get married in my entire life. So it's really hard to stick to a budget when you're getting married because it's very emotional. But how I've been able to do it is by sharing my budget with people. So I've shared my budget with my partner. I've shared my budget with my partner's mum too. And so now, if I'm going to spend more than what I said I would spend, I'm going to have to tell her. And that's something I don't want to do. And she's actually holding me accountable to my budget. So, share it with your friends, share it with your parents, share it with your financial advisor, and you're more likely to stick to your budget. Now, my third tip to you is to do your research. So going back to that example of the videographer, you don't actually have to spend $6,000 on a videographer. You can spend $2,000 on a videographer and they would be just as good. But the main difference is that the $6,000 one probably has a big social media following and is very popular, and so therefore they cost a lot more. And so do your research, and who celebrants are actually really good at this because they deal with a lot of photographers and videographers. So you can get in contact with your your celebrant, and they should be able to help you with supplies as well. And you'll actually be surprised that some of your friends may have side businesses that they have. So they might do like floral arrangements or photography, and they might actually be able to do your wedding day for a lot cheaper price too. So they're actually my tips for you today. As I said, having those conversations around money will help this experience for you to be a lot more enjoyable, and also allow you to stick to your budget a lot easier as well. I've actually been having quite a lot of conversations with couples in our financial kickstart sessions to help them have those important conversations around, what they're doing with their money, what they're saving for, some of the goals that they're working towards. So if this is you, go on our website and book in a financial kickstart session, and I look forward to speaking to you guys again soon.